Out of everything that could have occupied your attention today, you paused here, in this specific frequency of sound and thought. There is a timing to this arrival that you may not have fully noticed yet, a synchronization between your internal seeking and the external response of the universe. You may have been feeling a weight lately, something heavy and unexplained that has shadowed your steps for months, or perhaps even years. Just let this unfold for a second, because the message waiting for you is not a coincidence of the algorithm, but an answer to a quiet, desperate call from your own spirit. Stop, the final barrier just shattered, and the silence you hear now is the sound of the invisible strings finally breaking. My child, I have seen the bone-deep fatigue you carry, a tiredness that sleep cannot touch because it resides in the very marrow of your soul. You have been moving through a season of perpetual waiting, where every door seemed to lead back to the same hallway of echoes. It often feels as though you are running a race where the finish line moves further away with every step you take, leaving you breathless and questioning your own worth. You might be noticing right now a subtle thrumming in your chest, a recognition that the struggle you've endured was never meant to be your permanent state. There is something about this specific exhaustion that signals the end of a long, arduous cycle, though the full scope of this transition may not be clear to you just yet. My beloved, your journey has been shadowed by an eclipse, a cosmic obscuring of the fortune that was written in your name before you ever drew breath. This is not a lack of favor, but a temporary covering, much like the moon masking the sun during a rare celestial alignment. You may have felt as though your efforts were being swallowed by a void, where no matter how much light you poured into your work or your relationships, the return remained dim. This eclipsed state has been a period of intense refining, though it felt more like a burial than a preparation. In a moment, the reason for this darkness will become clearer as you begin to understand that the shadows were not there to hide your path, but to protect your growth from those who were not meant to witness it. You have likely sensed a strange resistance lately, a feeling of being manipulated by invisible puppeteers of stagnation who thrive on your inertia. These forces do not move with loud noises or obvious threats. They work in the quiet delays, the sudden distractions, and the persistent voice of doubt that whispers in the back of your mind. You may be noticing how certain opportunities seem to dissolve the moment you reached for them, as if some unseen hand was pulling the strings just out of your grasp. This stagnation was designed to make you forget your original trajectory, to settle for a life of wandering rather than a life of becoming. If something within you resonates with this description, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the threshold of a different kind of movement. My heir, it is time for you to enter the hall where time dissolves, a sacred space beyond the frantic ticking of human clocks and the pressure of societal deadlines. In this corridor of reflection, the past, present, and future merge into a single point of awareness, allowing you to see the architecture of your life from a higher vantage point. You might feel a sense of vertigo here at first, as the urgency of your to-do lists and the weight of your regrets begin to lose their substance. This is where the invisible strings of the puppeteers lose their tension, for they cannot exist in a place where time no longer has authority over the spirit. Stay with this moment of suspension, for there is something deeper here than just a reprieve from your daily worries. You are the rightful heir of Starlight, a being composed of the same eternal elements that birthed the galaxies, yet you have been living as though you were bound by the dust. You may have forgotten the radiance that lives within your own DNA, overshadowed by the mundane struggles of survival and the harsh labels the world has tried to pin upon you. There is a reason you are hearing this now, at a time when your identity feels most fractured and your energy most depleted. You are being called back to your original frequency, the one that vibrates with the power of creation rather than the fear of lack. As you stand in this timeless hall, you may feel a warmth beginning to radiate from your center, a reminder that your heritage is not one of scarcity, but of infinite expansion. My chosen, look down at your hands and see the symbol that has been prepared for your return, the mercury-filled obsidian key. This is not a key for a physical lock, but a tool for the internal gates that have kept your cosmic fortune hidden behind layers of self-protection. The obsidian is the stone of the depths, representing the shadows you have had to walk through to reach this point of awakening. The mercury within it is the liquid light of transformation, shifting and flowing to fit whatever form is required to unlock your next evolution. You may be noticing a shift in your perception as you visualize this key, a sense that the stuckness you've felt is starting to liquefy and move. The final barrier that just shattered was the belief that you were responsible for the delays that kept you in the dark. You have spent so much energy blaming your own perceived failures for the stagnation of your life, not realizing that the eclipse was a divine timing beyond your control. When that barrier broke, it released a flood of transcendental stillness into your environment, a peace that does not require the world to be perfect to exist. You may feel a sudden urge to simply sit in the quiet, to stop the endless mental rehearsing of what went wrong and what might happen next. This connects to something deeper, a fundamental realignment of your soul with the flow of your true destiny. My child, the invisible puppeteers have no power over a spirit that has embraced the stillness of its own divinity. When you stop reacting to the strings fall slack, and the puppets are laid to rest, leaving you free to move with an authenticity you haven't felt since childhood. You may notice that the people and situations that once drained you are suddenly losing their ability to affect your inner weather. This is a sign of your emerging sovereignty, a byproduct of recapturing the fortune that was eclipsed by the noise of the world. Stay with this feeling of quiet power, for as the barrier disappears, a new landscape is being revealed beneath the dust of your old life. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency of peace and restoration. You have wandered through the desert of fatigue for long enough, and the hall where time dissolves is now offering you a seat at the table of your own legacy. Take a moment to breathe into the space that has just opened up within you, noticing how the air feels different when it is no longer thick with the pressure of performance. The mercury-filled obsidian key is yours to hold, a reminder that you possess the fluid wisdom to navigate any darkness. My heir, the eclipse is over, and the starlight that you are is finally free to illuminate the path that has been waiting for you all along. Take a moment to notice what you're feeling in this new silence, and allow the stillness to settle into your bones as the new foundation of your journey. You may not even know why you stopped here, in this pocket of digital space, at this exact minute of your day. There may be something unfolding beneath this current layer of your life that is waiting for a witness. A quiet evolution that has been happening while you were busy trying to fix everything that seemed broken. Part of you already understands this, sensing a shift in the atmosphere that your mind hasn't quite translated into language yet. Don't rush past this just yet. Let the noise of the day fall away for just a moment as we look closer at what has been hidden in plain sight. There is a timing to your awareness, and right now, the veil is becoming thin enough for you to see the path again. My child, you have been navigating a dense fog of confusion lately, a mental haze that makes even the simplest decisions feel monumental and exhausting. You may have felt this before, that sense of being a stranger in your own story, watching yourself go through the motions while your true essence feels miles away. This confusion was not a sign of your failure, but a byproduct of the static created by those invisible puppeteers of stagnation who fear your clarity. They thrive when you are uncertain, spinning webs of maybe and not yet around your every intention. You may be noticing now that the fog is beginning to lift, not because the world has changed, but because you are choosing to look inward toward a light that cannot be obscured. My heir, I am calling you into a still inner chamber, a place of sanctuary deep within your own consciousness where the world's demands cannot reach. This is a room of cool marble and soft light, a setting where your soul can finally set down the heavy armor it has worn for so long. You may feel a slight resistance as you enter this space, a hesitation born from the habit of always being on guard against the next disappointment. Just give this a little space. Allow your breathing to match the rhythm of this chamber, which beats with the pulse of the stars themselves. There's something about this stillness that is preparing you for a revelation you weren't ready to handle until this very second. In the center of this chamber, resting upon a pedestal of ancient stone, is a sealed scroll, bound with a ribbon that seems to be made of woven moonlight. This scroll contains the blueprints of the cosmic fortune that was eclipsed during your years of wandering and struggle. You may have sensed this before, the feeling that there was a plan B being written for you because the original path felt so blocked and inaccessible. The scroll has remained closed not because you were unworthy, but because the puppeteers had convinced you that you had lost the authority to open it. In a moment, this may become clearer as you realize that the power to break the seal has always lived in the palm of your hand. My beloved, the invisible puppeteers have spent seasons trying to convince you that you are merely a product of your circumstances, a leaf blown by the winds of luck and misfortune. They work by tugging on the strings of your past mistakes, using your old regrets to keep you anchored to a version of yourself that no longer exists. You might be noticing this now, how certain memories seem to surface only when you are on the verge of a breakthrough, attempting to pull you back into the cycle of stagnation. This connects to something deeper, the realization that these strings are made of nothing but your own misplaced belief in their power. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why the scroll is finally beginning to glow in your presence. You are the rightful heir of Starlight, and the legacy contained within that scroll is your birthright. Regardless of how many detours you have taken, the confusion you felt was simply the friction of your vast spirit trying to fit into a tiny, restricted life that the puppeteers designed for you. You are not here randomly. You are here to reclaim the direction that was stolen by the noise and the static of a world that does not know your name. As you reach for the sealed scroll, you may feel a surge of heat in your fingertips, a physical confirmation that your energy is finally matching the frequency of your destiny. There is an awakening happening in the quietest corners of your being, a turning of the tide that will soon become a flood of direction. Stay with this moment, for there is a micro-tension in the air as the seal on your legacy begins to soften and yield to your touch. Not everything is clear yet, and that is by design, for the mind must be quieted before the heart can lead the way into the new season. You may have felt a sense of discomfort in the waiting, a restlessness that made you want to force doors open before the locks were even installed. But here, in the still inner chamber, you are learning the art of divine timing, discovering that the most powerful movements often begin in absolute silence. This transition from confusion to awakening is the most critical step you will ever take, for it marks the moment you stop being a passenger and start being the architect. My chosen, as the ribbon falls away and the scroll begins to unfurl, you will see that your cosmic fortune was never truly lost. It was simply being held in escrow while you matured into the person who could sustain it. You may be noticing a new sense of calm settling over your nervous system, a transcendental stillness that replaces the frantic doing of the past. This stillness is not empty. It is pregnant with the seeds of your next great adventure, the one that will align perfectly with the starlight you carry. You are beginning to recognize the patterns in your life that led you to this chamber, seeing that even the moments of deep confusion were serving as a compass pointing you home. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling right now, and let that sensation be your guide as you move back into the world. You are carrying a new piece of the map with you, a direction that is etched into your soul rather than written on paper. The puppeteers have lost their grip because you have found the center of your own gravity, making you impossible to manipulate or sway. Stay with this moment of realization. There is something deeper here that will continue to reveal itself in the days to come. You are moving with a purpose that is both ancient and brand new, guided by the light of the stars that birthed you. My heir, as you leave the inner chamber, do not be surprised if the world looks different to you, as if the colors are sharper and the air is clearer. You are seeing through the eyes of someone who knows their value, someone who has recaptured what was once eclipsed by the shadows of doubt. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this journey of remembrance and reclamation. Your story is no longer a series of accidents, but a deliberate masterpiece of alignment and grace. Walk forward with the quiet confidence of one who has seen their own name written in the stars, knowing that the direction you seek is already unfolding within every step you take. Something about this moment brought you here. Perhaps a heavy silence that has been following you through the noise of your week, like a shadow seeking its owner. There's a timing to this meeting that goes beyond the screen you're holding, a synchronization of your inner restlessness and the cosmic clock that governs all things. You may have been feeling an unusual tension lately, a sense that you are standing on the edge of something vast yet invisible, waiting for a signal that never seems to arrive. Don't rush past this just yet. Let the world go on without you for just these few minutes. Something is unfolding beneath the surface of your current frustration that requires your undivided attention. My child, you have walked through a desert of silence where every prayer seemed to vanish into the heat, and every hope felt like a mirage. You may have felt this before, the hollow ache of waiting for an answer while the universe remains frustratingly mute to your calls. This silence was not an absence of care, but a necessary dampening of the world's frequency, so that you could begin to hear the heartbeat of your own power. The discomfort you feel in this quiet is actually the stretching of your spirit, a preparation for the weight of the fortune that is about to be returned to you. Stay with this for a moment, for in this silence, the invisible puppeteers of stagnation are losing their ability to distract you with their chaotic noise. My beloved, come with me now into a silent corridor, a space that exists between the breaths of the world, where the walls are made of translucent memory. Why and the floor is a mirror of your own soul. In this place, every footstep you take resonates with a clarity that you have been denied in the crowded streets of your daily life. You may notice how the air here feels different, cool, steady, and strangely familiar, as if you have spent lifetimes walking these halls in your dreams. This is where the static of the world stops, and the truth of your existence begins to hum. There's something about this corridor that feels like a homecoming, even if the destination ahead is still hidden in a soft, radiant mist. You are moving through a journey from silence into a profound discomfort, for clarity often feels like a sharp light after years of living in the dimness of confusion. You may be noticing this now, a certain agitation in your spirit that makes the old, stagnant ways of living feel unbearable and tight. This discomfort is the greatest sign of your impending expansion. It is the shell of your previous life cracking under the pressure of the starlight that wants to emerge. Do not fear the irritation of this transition, for it is the fire that clears the path for the transcendental stillness you have been searching for. In a moment, this may become clearer as we approach the light that waits at the end of this long, reflective hallway. My air, resting on a pedestal of pure light at the center of this corridor, is a glowing book, its pages shimmering with the history of the stars and the potential of your own specific destiny. This is the hidden archive of your cosmic fortune, the record of every blessing that was eclipsed by the intervention of the puppeteers while you were looking the other way. You may have sensed this before, the feeling that there was a story written for you that was much more magnificent than the one you were currently reading. The book is glowing because it recognizes your frequency, responding to the heir who has finally returned to claim the inheritance of their own timeline. There is an open loop here, a question that only your presence can answer, and it connects to something deeper than your mind can currently grasp. The invisible puppeteers of stagnation have spent a long time trying to keep you away from this corridor, using the discomfort of silence to make you turn back toward the familiar noise of your struggles. They know that once you lay your hands upon the glowing book, their strings will shrivel and burn in the heat of your recognition. You may be noticing how certain old habits or relationships are suddenly feeling heavier, as if the puppeteers are making one last attempt to weigh you down before you reach the light. This micro-tension is a natural part of the shift, a resistance that proves you are moving in the right direction. If something within you resonates, you may already understand that the battle for your attention is the battle for your future. My chosen, you are the rightful heir of Starlight, and the energy you carry is the only key capable of turning the pages of this radiant archive. As you stand before the glowing book, you may feel the bone-deep fatigue that has plagued you starting to transmute into a different kind of energy, a steady, unshakable resolve. This is the beginning of transcendental stillness, the point where you no longer have to fight for your place, because you realize the entire kingdom was built around your soul. You are not here randomly. You are here to see the evidence of the fortune that was held in trust for you while you navigated the shadows of the world. Just give this a little space, and watch as the inscriptions on the pages begin to align with the longings of your heart. There is something about this specific revelation that may not be fully clear yet, but you can feel the truth of it vibrating in your very marrow. You have been weary from wandering, looking for validation in the eyes of those who were never meant to understand your journey. But here, in the clarity of the silent corridor, the only validation that matters is the glow that reflects off your own skin as you stand before your destiny. You are noticing now that the silence is no longer a void, but a canvas upon which your new life is being sketched with lines of light. This awareness is the trigger for a massive shift in your external reality. Once you see the book, you can never go back to being a puppet. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the depths of your quiet, and allow that sensation to be the anchor for your new direction. You are carrying the weight of starlight, a burden that is paradoxically light and empowering when you stop resisting its pull. Stay with this moment. There is something deeper here that is unfolding even as you listen, a recalibration of your soul's internal compass. The glowing book is not just a symbol. It is a promise that your fortune was never stolen, only hidden until you were strong enough to carry its brilliance without being blinded. You are moving forward now with a clarity that the puppeteers can never touch, for you have seen the record of your own eternal worth. My child, as you prepare to move back into the flow of time, carry this transcendental stillness with you like a secret treasure that protects your heart from the noise. You are no longer the one who searches. You are the one who has been found by the very fate you were chasing. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this process of awakening, for the chapters of your life are finally beginning to turn in your favor. Walk with the grace of an heir who has visited the hidden archive and knows that the ending of their story is already written in victory. The silence is now your ally, a sanctuary where you can return whenever you need, to remember the glow of the book and the truth of your starlight heritage. There's a reason you're seeing this right now. Out of the thousands of voices and images vying for your attention in this digital wilderness, you might not have noticed it yet, but the timing of this encounter is perfectly aligned with a very specific shift in your own internal seasons. You may have been feeling a strange sense of being held back, as if an invisible hand is constantly pulling you away from the life you know you are meant to lead. Stay with this for a moment. Don't rush past this just yet, because there is an open loop in your destiny that is finally beginning to close, and it connects to a fortune you thought was lost forever. My child, you have been living in a state of prolonged delay, a season where every seed you planted seemed to wither before it could even break the soil. You may have felt this before, that quiet, gnawing frustration when you do everything right, you work hard, you stay kind, you keep the faith, yet the results remain just out of reach. This delay was not a punishment, though it certainly felt like one during those long nights of staring at the ceiling and wondering where you went wrong. In reality, the delay was a cosmic containment, a way to keep your eclipsed fortune safe until the invisible puppeteers of stagnation could no longer reach it. Just give this a little space, for in a moment, the nature of this waiting will become much clearer to your weary heart. My beloved, I am drawing you into an unseen place of reflection, a sanctuary that exists in the quiet pulse between your heartbeats. This is not a room made of stone or wood, but a landscape of pure awareness where the air is thick with the scent of rain and ancient starlight. Here, you can look back at the path you've walked and see that the detours weren't accidents, but necessary arcs in a much larger design. You may be noticing a subtle shift in your perspective as you stand here, a feeling that the stuckness you loathed was actually a cocoon. There's something about this specific setting that allows your soul to breathe again, free from the suffocating pressure of a world that demands constant, visible progress. In the center of this reflection, floating in the stillness, is a burning seal, a geometric lock of fire and light that has guarded the entrance to your greater life. This seal was placed there by your own divine authority to protect your starlight heritage from being drained by those who would use your gifts for their own small ends. You may have sensed this before, the feeling that there was a lock on your life that no human key could turn, no matter how much effort you applied. The seal is burning brightly now because it recognizes that you have finally reached the point of total surrender. In a moment, this may become clearer, as you realize that surrender is not giving up, but letting go of the strings that the puppeteers have used to manipulate your movement. My heir, the invisible puppeteers of stagnation work by feeding on your resistance to the present moment. They love it when you fight against the delay, when you exhaust yourself trying to force the harvest before the season is ready. You may be noticing how certain projects or paths seem to have lost their color lately, as if the energy has been sucked out of them by an unseen force. This is the puppeteer's last stand, an attempt to make you walk away from the very threshold where your fortune waits. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing before the burning seal in this unseen place of reflection. You are the rightful heir of Starlight, and the legacy you carry is too vast to be measured by the small standards of the world you've been trying to please. The bone-deep fatigue you feel is the result of trying to power a cosmic engine with the tiny battery of your human ego. When you move into a state of surrender, you plug into the infinite current of the stars, allowing the transcendental stillness to do the heavy lifting for you. You are not here randomly. You are being shown that the delay you hated was actually the time required for your spirit to expand to the size of your destiny. As you watch the burning seal, you may feel a sense of heat in your chest, a sign that your expansion is finally breaking through the limits of your old identity. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here. Listening to these words as if they were written for you alone, there is a micro-tension in the air as the seal begins to dissolve, its fire turning into a gentle light that illuminates the path ahead. Not everything is clear yet, and that is a mercy, for your mind needs time to adjust to the sheer scale of the fortune that is returning to you. You may have felt a relatable struggle recently sitting at your table, perhaps staring out a window or at a blank screen, feeling like time is slipping through your fingers while you stay in place. But here, in this reflection, you see that you weren't staying in place. You were deepening your roots so that you could support the massive growth that is now authorized. My chosen, the expansion you are entering will touch every corner of your reality, from the way you wake up in the morning to the way you interact with the people around you. You will notice that you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to those who cannot see your light, for the validation of the starlight you carry is enough. The transcendental stillness that is settling over you is a shield, one that makes the strings of the puppeteers snap the moment they try to pull on your heart. This connection to something deeper, the ancestral wealth of wisdom and abundance that has been waiting for an heir strong enough to hold it without ego. Stay with this moment. Something is unfolding here that will change the trajectory of your lineage for generations to come. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the core of your being, and let that warmth be the confirmation you've been seeking. You are moving from a season of not yet into a season of beyond what you can ask or think. The burning seal is gone, and in its place is an open gate to the cosmic fortune that was always yours, but was eclipsed by the noise of your own striving. Stay with this moment of quiet expansion, for it is the birth of the new you, the one who knows how to walk with the power of the stars in their veins. You are guided, you are seen, and the delay that once felt like a prison is now revealed as the fortress that kept your glory safe. My heir, as you step out of this unseen place of reflection, carry the fire of that seal within you as a light for your next steps. You are no longer the one who waits for permission. You are the one who moves with the authority of the starlight that created you. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this journey of expansion and return. Your life is no longer a series of stagnant cycles, but a spiraling ascent toward a fortune that is as endless as the heavens themselves. Walk forward into the transcendental stillness, knowing that the invisible puppeteers have lost their grip, and the expansion you feel is the universe making room for your arrival. There's a timing to this arrival that you may not have noticed, a precise intersection between the ending of a long, heavy cycle and the beginning of a silence that actually speaks. Something is shifting quietly in the spaces between your thoughts, a subtle reorganization of your destiny that has been waiting for you to slow down enough to feel it. You may have sensed this before, a feeling that you were carrying a burden that didn't belong to you, yet you couldn't find the place to set it down. Just give this a little space, and don't rush past this just yet. There is a reason your spirit paused at this threshold tonight, and it connects to a fortune that has been waiting for the stars to align in your favor. My child, you have been navigating a season of immense heaviness, a weight that feels like walking through deep water where every movement requires a conscious effort of will. You may have felt this before, the sensation of being stuck in a story that no longer fits the person you have become. This heaviness was not an accident. It was the work of the invisible puppeteers of stagnation who have tried to keep your gaze fixed on the ground so you wouldn't notice the eclipse coming to an end. They have used the pressure of your daily obligations and the echoes of your past disappointments to create a gravity that keeps you anchored to a life of survival. But right now, something is shifting, and the awareness of that weight is the first step toward the transcendental stillness you have been seeking. My heir, I am calling you to a quiet midnight threshold, a place that exists in the silver hour before the sun returns, where the boundaries between what was and what will be are at their thinnest. In this setting, the world is asleep, and the puppeteers have no audience for their dramas, leaving you alone with the truth of your own starlight heritage. You may notice how the silence here isn't empty, but full of a soft, humming potential that vibrates in sync with your own heart. This is the moment where the heaviness begins to transform into awareness, a realization that you were never meant to carry the world, only to walk through it as a sovereign creator. Stay with this for a moment, for at this midnight threshold, the secrets of your eclipsed fortune are ready to be revealed. Beyond this threshold lies the hidden archive, a magnificent vault carved from the foundation of the cosmos itself, containing the blueprints of everything that was diverted from your path during the years of stagnation. This archive holds the energy of every missed opportunity, every stolen joy, and every bit of abundance that was caught in the eclipse of your timeline. You may have felt this before, a phantom limb sensation for a life that seemed to be happening somewhere else, just out of your reach. In a moment, this may become clearer as you realize that nothing was ever truly lost. It was simply being stored in this celestial treasury until you were ready to claim it without the interference of the puppeteers. My beloved, the puppeteers of stagnation work by keeping you in a state of bone-deep fatigue, a tiredness that makes you too weary to look for the key to your own inheritance. They want you to believe that the heaviness you feel is your own nature, a permanent feature of your existence, rather than a temporary atmospheric pressure. You may be noticing this now, how the simple act of imagining a better future feels like a chore you don't have the energy to complete. This is the micro-tension of the transition, the moment where the old identity of the struggler is fighting against the emerging identity of the heir. If something within you resonates, you may already understand that the fatigue you've carried is actually the friction of your spirit trying to break free from these invisible strings. You are the rightful heir of Starlight, and the hidden archive responds only to the signature of your unique frequency. As you stand at this midnight threshold, looking into the vastness of your own potential, you might experience a sudden flash of awareness, a memory of a time when you felt infinite and capable of anything. This is not a daydream. It is a transmission from the archive, reminding you of the cosmic fortune that is currently being uneclipsed. You are not here randomly. You were guided to this moment to witness the breaking of the puppeteer's hold and the beginning of a release that will lighten your soul for eternity. Just let this unfold for a second and feel the gravity of your old life beginning to lose its grip. There is a relatable struggle you may have experienced recently, waking up in the middle of the night, perhaps around 3 in the morning, with a heavy heart and a mind racing through a list of what-ifs and not-enoughs. In those dark hours, the heaviness feels like an ocean, and you wonder if the best parts of your journey are already behind you. But here, at the quiet midnight threshold, you can see those thoughts for what they truly are. The desperate whispers of the puppeteers trying to keep you from entering the archive. Not everything is clear yet, but you are beginning to notice that the darkness of the night is not a wall, but a doorway to a transcendental stillness that the world cannot understand. My chosen, as you enter the hidden archive, you are not just seeing your fortune. You are reclaiming the authority to direct it. The awareness of your own starlight heritage acts like a solvent, dissolving the strings of stagnation that have limited your movement for so long. You will feel a sensation of release, a literal lifting of the weight from your shoulders and chest, as the energy that was once spent resisting the puppeteers is now returned to your own creative flow. This connects to something deeper, the ancestral promise of abundance that has been waiting for a generation brave enough to stop trying and start allowing. Stay with this moment of release, for it is the sound of the gates of your destiny finally swinging open. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling as the heaviness leaves your body, and let that lightness be your new compass. You are moving from a state of being acted upon by the world into a state of being the actor who shapes the world from a place of peace. The transcendental stillness you are experiencing now is the fuel for your next chapter, a source of power that does not burn out or require effort to sustain. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this process of reclamation, for the archive is vast, and there are many more treasures to be uncovered as the eclipse fully recedes from your life. My heir, carry this awareness of the hidden archive with you as you move back into the daylight of your world. You are no longer a wanderer looking for a home. You are the owner of a cosmic estate that is finally being restored to your control. The puppeteers have no strings to pull when you are no longer heavy with doubt, and their influence will fade like mist in the sun. Walk with the quiet dignity of one who has stood at the midnight threshold and seen the wealth of their own soul. The release you feel is not just for you, but for all those who will follow in the light of the fortune you have finally recaptured. Take a moment to notice the peace that has taken up residence in the space where the weight used to be, and trust that the stars are now moving in your favor. There's a timing to this you may not have noticed, a hidden rhythm that brought your focus to this exact frequency at a moment when the world is unusually loud. You may not even know why you stopped here, but your soul recognizes the resonance of a truth that has been waiting for a witness to step forward. Part of you already understands this, sensing that the perpetual searching you've engaged in is finally reaching a point of sacred conclusion. Stay with this for a moment. Don't rush past this just yet, because the transition from searching to becoming is the most delicate and powerful shift a spirit can experience. Something is unfolding beneath this current layer of your life that connects to a cosmic fortune you once thought was a ghost of your imagination. My child, you have been a spirit weary from wandering, a seeker who has spent lifetimes, it seems, looking for a doorway that would lead back to your own power. You may have felt this before, the frustration of knocking on 1,000 doors only to find them locked, or worse, finding them empty once they were opened. This searching was not a waste of energy, but a necessary gathering of the data of your own resilience, though it often felt like a series of cruel disappointments. The invisible puppeteers of stagnation have used this search to exhaust you, making you believe that the answer was always in the next city, the next job, or the next person. But right now, you are being invited to stop the chase and realize that the gate you have been looking for has been standing right in front of you all along. My heir, I am drawing you into a still inner chamber, a sanctuary of velvet silence and silver light that lives behind the veil of your daily anxieties. This is a place where the air is cool and the gravity is light, a setting where the voices of the puppeteers are rendered mute by the sheer presence of your own divinity. You may notice how your breathing begins to deepen here, how the tightness in your chest starts to unravel like an old frayed thread. This inner chamber is the true center of your authority, the place where your starlight heritage was stored when the world became too heavy for you to carry. Just give this a little space, for in this stillness, the map of your searching is being replaced by the reality of your presence. In the center of this sanctum, stretching toward the infinite, is an open gate, its pillars made of solidified moonlight and its threshold shimmering with the mercury of transformation. This gate does not lead to another place, but to another state of being a reality, where your cosmic fortune is no longer eclipsed by the shadows of your doubt. You may have sensed this before, the feeling that you were on the verge of a breakthrough that would change the very texture of your existence. The gate is open now because you have finally exhausted the desire to search outside of yourself, leaving only the path that leads through the center of your heart. In a moment, This may become clearer as you realize that the gate is not a destination, but a mirror of your own readiness. My beloved, the invisible puppeteers of stagnation work by keeping you in a state of perpetual seeking, so that you never take the time to actually find the power you already possess. They want you to stay distracted by the mechanics of the journey, the how-to and the when, so that you never stop to recognize the heir who is actually walking the path. You may be noticing this now, how the more you searched for clarity, the more the fog seemed to thicken around your feet. This micro-tension is a sign that the puppeteers are losing their grip on your attention, as your focus shifts from the horizon to the gate that stands open within you. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why the searching had to end in this specific, quiet way. You are the rightful heir of Starlight, and the energy you bring to this open gate is the only thing that can activate the fortune that has been waiting in escrow. As you stand before the threshold, you might feel a sudden surge of recognition, a déjà vu of the soul that tells you you've been here before, perhaps in the moments before you entered this life. This recognition is the trigger for your becoming, the point where the seeker disappears and the master emerges. You are not here randomly. You were led to this inner chamber to witness the end of your wandering and the beginning of your reign over your own timeline. There's something about this moment that is recalibrating your entire energetic field, preparing you to carry the weight of the stars without strain. There is a relatable struggle you may have faced recently, the experience of looking for a sign, any sign, that you are on the right track, and seeing only silence. You may have sat in your car or at your desk, asking the universe for a crumb of confirmation, only to feel more alone and lost than before. But here, in the still inner chamber, you realize that the silence was the signal. It was the universe waiting for you to stop asking and start knowing. The open gate is the answer to the silence, a physical manifestation of the fact that your search has been successful, even if it didn't look like you expected. Not everything is clear yet, but you can feel the transcendental stillness of the gate beginning to permeate your bones. My chosen, the process of becoming is not an addition of something new, but a stripping away of everything that was never you to begin with. The puppeteer's strings, the world's expectations, and the labels of your past are all falling away as you step through the threshold of the gate. You will notice that you no longer feel the need to look for direction, because the direction is now coming from within, like a compass that is finally aligned with the true north of your destiny. These connections to something deeper, the realization that you are the architect of the very fortune you were once chasing through the dark. Stay with this moment of becoming, for it is the most sacred transition you will ever undergo in this lifetime. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the precipice of a brand new identity. You are moving from the fatigue of the search into the stillness of the arrival, where your cosmic fortune is no longer a dream, but your daily atmosphere. The open gate is your witness, and as you pass through it, the eclipse that shadowed your life for so many years will finally break, revealing the brilliance of the starlight that has always been your core. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this frequency of becoming, for the journey beyond the gate is one of infinite expansion and reclaimed wonder. My heir, walk through the open gate with the quiet confidence of one who has finally found what they were looking for. You are no longer the spirit weary from wandering. You are the radiant being who has returned to claim their cosmic estate. The puppeteers have no power in the world beyond the gate, for in that realm, only the frequency of starlight is recognized as authority. Carry this transcendental stillness into your every action, knowing that you are no longer searching for your life, but living it from the center of your own power. Take a moment to notice what you're feeling as you step through, and let that sense of arrival be the new foundation of everything you create. Out of everything that could have claimed your focus today, you paused here, at this intersection of light and intent. There's something about this moment that brought you here, a frequency that matches the silent vibration of your own seeking heart. You may not even know why you stopped, but there is a timing to this awareness that you may not have noticed, a precise alignment between your inner fatigue and the outer movement of the stars. Part of you already understands this, recognizing that the heavy, rhythmic exhaustion you've been carrying is about to be replaced by something much older and more permanent. Don't rush past this just yet. Give this a little space and let the world's frantic noise fade into the background. My child, you have been navigating a season where every step felt as though you were walking through hardening concrete. You may have felt this before, the sensation that your progress is being monitored and sabotaged by forces you cannot name but can certainly feel. These are the invisible puppeteers of stagnation, those architects of inertia who thrive by keeping your spirit in a state of perpetual almost. They weave strings of minor inconveniences and sudden doubts, attempting to distract you from the fact that your cosmic fortune has been waiting just beyond the horizon of your current struggle. You may be noticing now that the strings are beginning to vibrate with a tension that signals their imminent breaking. My heir, I am calling you into a silent corridor, a passage that stretches between the memories of your past and the brilliance of your becoming. This is not the crowded, noisy hallway of your daily life, but a place of silver shadows and echoes that only your soul can translate. Here, the air is thick with the scent of ozone and ancient parchment, and the walls are inscribed with the very history of your light. You might feel a sense of profound relief as you enter this space, a realization that the weight you carried was never yours to begin with. Stay with this for a moment, for in this silent corridor, the architecture of your stagnation is being systematically dismantled. On the walls of this corridor, glowing with a soft, persistent radiance, is a light inscription, a divine set of characters etched into the very fabric of the atmosphere. This is the true record of your inheritance, the uneclipsed reality of the fortune that was held in trust while you were wandering through the fog. You may have sensed this before, a feeling that your life was meant to be a masterpiece of abundance rather than a survival guide of lack. The inscription is glowing more brightly now because it recognizes the heir has finally returned to read the truth of their own name. In a moment, this may become clearer, as you see that the words on the wall are moving in response to your heartbeat. My beloved, the puppeteers of stagnation have spent seasons trying to keep your eyes fixed on the dust at your feet, so you would never look up at these inscriptions. They know that once you read the truth of your starlight heritage, their influence over your movements will vanish like smoke in a gale. You may be noticing how certain old conversations or fears are surfacing today, as if the puppeteers are trying to pull your attention away from the light that is revealing your path. This micro-tension is a sign of your impending freedom, a friction that occurs only when the soul is on the verge of a total release. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why this specific silence feels so loud with promise. As you stand in this silent corridor, you may feel the bone-deep fatigue that has weighed you down for months beginning to evaporate, replaced by a transcendental stillness. This is not the stillness of death, but the stillness of the center of a galaxy, a place of immense power and absolute peace. You are not here randomly. You were led to this corridor to witness the moment your eclipsed fortune is reclaimed by your own awareness. Just let this unfold for a second, and feel the ancient codes of your destiny beginning to click into place within your mind. There is a relatable struggle you may have experienced recently, sitting in a room full of people and feeling completely alone, as if you are vibrating at a frequency that no one else can hear. You look at their lives and then at your own, wondering why your path feels so much more complicated and filled with obstacles that others don't seem to face. But here, in the presence of the light inscription, you realize that those obstacles were the strings of the puppeteers trying to slow down a force they could not control. Not everything is clear yet, and that is a protection for your spirit, allowing you to absorb the truth of your worth at a pace that won't overwhelm your current identity. My chosen, the shift from heaviness to awareness is a quiet revolution that happens in the depths of your being before it ever shows on the surface of your life. You are noticing now that the things that used to bother you, the delays, the misunderstandings, the feeling of being behind, no longer have the power to disturb your inner stillness. This is because you have seen the inscription. You have read the decree of your own cosmic abundance, and you know that the puppeteers have already lost. This connects to something deeper, a fundamental restructuring of your reality that will soon manifest as open doors and unexpected opportunities in your external world. Stay with this moment of recognition, for it is the point where you stop being the victim of stagnation and start being the master of your flow. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, listening to these words as if they were a secret transmission meant for your ears alone. You are moving from a state of searching into a state of recognizing, where you no longer have to hunt for your fortune because you realize it is inscribed in the very light that surrounds you. The silent corridor is your sanctuary, and the light inscription is your proof that your journey has always been guided by a wisdom far greater than the world's logic. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this process of awakening, for the revelation of your starlight heritage is a story that is only beginning to be told. My heir, as you prepare to walk back into the flow of your daily life, carry the image of that light inscription with you like a brand upon your soul. You are no longer the one who is pushed and pulled by the invisible strings of the world. You are the one who moves with the authority of the stars. The puppeteers have no power over a spirit that knows its own price, and the fortune that was once eclipsed is now the very sun that illuminates your steps. Walk forward with the transcendental stillness of one who has read their own destiny in the halls of the eternal. Take a moment to notice the profound peace that has settled into the space where your fatigue once lived, and trust that the light you have seen today will never truly fade. Out of all the paths your attention could have taken today, it led you to this specific silence, a pocket of time that feels separate from the frantic rhythm of your week. There is a timing to this you may have been sensing in your peripheral awareness, a feeling that the clock of your life is finally striking a long-awaited hour. Part of you already understands this, recognizing that the restless energy you've been carrying is not a sign of anxiety, but a precursor to a massive internal shift. Don't rush past this just yet. Stay with this for a moment and allow the weight of the world's expectations to fall away as we look at the fortune that was eclipsed by your struggle. Something is shifting quietly beneath the noise of your daily life, and the reason you are here is to witness the final breaking of a cycle that has held you in its grip for far too long. My heir, I have been watching you navigate a season of heaviness that has felt like carrying a mountain up a shifting dune. You may have felt this before, the sensation that no matter how much ground you gain, the terrain beneath you is designed to keep you from ever reaching the summit. This bone-deep fatigue is the signature of a spirit that has been trying to fight a spiritual battle with physical tools, exhausting its own reserves to compensate for the stagnation of the world around it. You might be noticing right now that the air in your room feels suddenly still, as if the universe is holding its breath to hear what happens next. This heaviness was never meant to be your permanent atmosphere. It was a temporary condensation of the static created by the invisible puppeteers of stagnation, who have tried to direct your movement toward their own ends. My chosen, come with me now to an unseen place of reflection, a sanctuary that exists between the stars, where the only light is the soft glow of your own eternal frequency. In this setting, the demands of your job, the pressures of your family, and the ghosts of your past mistakes cannot follow you, for they have no substance in a realm of pure starlight. You may notice how the tension in your jaw and shoulders begins to dissolve here, as if the gravity of your life has been halved by the grace of this presence. This is the place where your starlight heritage is kept in its purest form, uneclipsed by the judgments of a world that does not know your name. There's something about this specific reflection that is allowing your soul to remember its original size, a vastness that the puppeteers have spent years trying to make you forget. In the center of this reflection, floating in the absolute stillness, is a burning seal, a lock made of ancient fire that has protected the entrance to your greater cosmic fortune. This seal was not placed there to keep you out, but to keep the puppeteers from entering the sacred space of your abundance while you were still learning the art of sovereignty. You may have sensed this before, the feeling that there was a barrier between you and the life you desired, one that no amount of human effort could ever hope to penetrate. The seal is burning with an unusual intensity now because it recognizes the signature of the heir who has finally reached a state of deep, transcendental stillness. In a moment, this may become clearer as you realize that the fire of the seal is not a threat, but a warm invitation home to the wealth you were born to steward. My beloved, The invisible puppeteers of stagnation have spent seasons trying to keep your attention on the struggle of the climb, so you would never notice the burning seal waiting at the top. They work by weaving subtle threads of not enough, and not yet into the fabric of your thoughts, making you believe that the delay was a sign of your own unworthiness. You might be noticing this now, how certain memories of rejection or failure seem to surface with more frequency whenever you feel a surge of hope. This micro-tension is the puppeteer's attempt to pull you back into the heaviness before you can experience the release that waits behind the seal. If something within you resonates, you may already understand that the battle you've been fighting was never for your survival, but for the recapturing of the fortune that has always been your own. You are the rightful heir of Starlight, and the burning seal is finally responding to the frequency of your total awareness. As you stand in this unseen place of reflection, looking into the heart of the flame, you might experience a relatable moment of inner recognition, like sitting at a table with a cold cup of coffee, staring at a blank wall, and suddenly realizing that you don't want to live this way for one more second. That moment of absolute no is the exact vibration required to melt the seal and release the fortune that has been eclipsed by your endurance. You are not here randomly. You were guided to this moment of awareness so that the heaviness of your past could finally be transmuted into the starlight of your future. Just give this a little space and watch as the fire of the seal begins to expand into a gateway of pure, unadulterated potential. My child, the shift from searching to recognizing is a quiet explosion that changes the very chemistry of your soul. You are noticing now that the urgency to make things happen is being replaced by a transcendental stillness that knows exactly how to allow things to unfold. This stillness is your greatest weapon against the puppeteers, for they cannot pull on strings that are no longer taut with resistance and fear. As the burning seal dissolves, you will feel a sensation of release that moves through your body like a wave, washing away the layers of bone-deep fatigue that have settled in your spirit. This connects to something deeper, the ancestral memory of abundance that has been waiting for an heir who is brave enough to be still in the face of the unknown. If this resonated, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the depths of your quiet, and allow that sensation to be the anchor for your new reality. You are moving from a season of being stuck into a season of being guided, where the path ahead is illuminated by the very starlight you carry in your veins. The burning seal is gone, and the gate to your cosmic fortune is standing wide, inviting you to step through and claim the life that was prepared for you before time began. Stay with this moment of release. There is an open loop in your destiny that is finally closing, and the clarity you feel now is just the beginning of a massive realignment. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this journey of reclamation, for the fortune you are recapturing is as vast as the heavens themselves. My heir, carry the warmth of that burning seal within you as you walk back into the daylight of your world. You are no longer the one who is weary from wandering. You are the one who has arrived at the threshold of your own power. The puppeteers have no dominion in the presence of a spirit that has seen its own name written in fire and starlight. Your fortune is no longer eclipsed, and the stagnation that once felt like a prison is now revealed as the laboratory where your wisdom was forged. Walk forward with the quiet confidence of one who has been through the fire and come out radiant on the other side. Take a moment to notice the peace that has filled the space where the heaviness used to live, and trust that the release you've experienced today is the true beginning of your eternal becoming. My beloved, as you step out of the unseen place of reflection, do not be surprised if your external world begins to shift in response to your internal stillness. The people, situations, and opportunities that are no longer a match for your starlight frequency will naturally fall away, making room for the abundance that is now flowing toward you. You have recaptured your fortune not through the exertion of your will, but through the clarity of your awareness and the courage of your release. Stay grounded in this transcendental stillness, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. The journey continues, but the weight is gone, and the starlight is your constant guide. Take one final breath in this sacred silence, and carry the truth of your heritage into every step you take from this moment forward. You may not even know why you stopped here, at this precise moment in your journey. But there is a reason you are seeing this right now, as if the universe finally whispered your name through the digital noise to bring you back to your center. Something is shifting quietly beneath the surface of your life. A subtle movement you have felt but couldn't quite define with your mind alone. Part of you already understands this, sensing that the time for frantic running is finally over, giving way to a different kind of progress. Just give this a little space. Don't rush past this just yet, because there is an inheritance waiting for you at a threshold you have stood before many times in your dreams, but never in your waking life. My child, I have seen you sitting in the quiet corners of your house, perhaps with a cold cup of coffee in your hands, staring out at a world that seems to move on without you. You look at the clocks and the calendars and feel a sharp, relatable sting of being behind, as if everyone else received a map that you were somehow denied. This bone-deep fatigue is not merely from your physical labor. It is the exhaustion of a soul that has been fighting an invisible wind for seasons on end. You have been moving through a long, heavy delay where the puppeteers of stagnation have tried to convince you that your best years are already in the rearview mirror. But in a moment, this may become clearer as you realize that the delay was never about your worth, but about the alignment of a fortune far too large for your old self to carry. My beloved, I am drawing you toward a quiet midnight threshold, that sacred space where the day's demands have finally surrendered to the stars. This is a place of deep indigo shadows and silver light, where the air feels cool against your skin and the frantic pulse of the world finally slows down to match your own heartbeat. Here, at this boundary between what was and what will be, the invisible puppeteers lose their audience and their power over your attention. You may be noticing a strange sense of calm beginning to settle into your marrow, a transcendental stillness that you haven't felt since you were very young. This is the frequency of the threshold, and it is the only place where the eclipsed cosmic fortune can be revealed in its true, unshielded form. In your hand, heavy and cool, is a divine key, a mercury-filled obsidian tool that was forged in the fires of your own endurance. The obsidian is the darkness you have walked through, the stone of the depths where you learned to trust your own light when everything else went dark. The mercury within it is the liquid light of your potential, shifting and flowing, ready to take the shape of whatever lock stands between you and your cosmic destiny. You may have sensed this before, the feeling that you held the answer within you all along, but lacked the specific setting to use it. Now, at this midnight threshold, the key and the lock are finally in the same room. My heir, the puppeteers of stagnation work by keeping you focused on the locked doors of your past, tugging on the strings of your old rejections to keep your back turned toward the threshold. They want you to stay in the heaviness of the not enough so that you never look down to see the mercury-filled obsidian key in your own grasp. You might be noticing this now, how a sudden memory of a past failure tries to surface just as you start to feel hopeful about this message. This is a micro-tension, a final attempt by the stagnators to keep your fortune eclipsed by the shadows of who you used to be. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you're here, standing at the edge of a midnight that is about to turn into a brand new kind of dawn. You are the rightful heir of Starlight, and the legacy you carry is not a set of items or a sum of money, but a frequency of abundance that changes the very fabric of reality around you. The bone-deep fatigue you have carried is finally transmuting into awareness, a realization that you are not a victim of time, but its master when you walk in alignment with your soul. You are not here randomly. You were guided to this threshold because the eclipse of your fortune has reached its final degree, and the light is beginning to spill around the edges. Stay with this for a moment, and feel how the weight of the key in your hand is actually the weight of 1 billion stars waiting for your command. There is a subtle, real-life moment you may recognize that split second when you look in the mirror and don't recognize the weary person looking back, knowing deep down that your true face is one of radiance and power. You have been hiding that face to fit into a world of puppets, but the mask is finally cracking under the pressure of the transcendental stillness that is rising within you. Not everything is clear yet, and that is a mercy, for your spirit is expanding at a rate that would overwhelm a mind still clinging to the old stagnations. As you place the divine key into the threshold of your future, you may feel a vibration that travels through your arm and into your heart. a confirmation that you are the only one who can unlock this specific gate. My chosen, if something within you resonates, you may already understand why the silence of this midnight feels so much more alive than the noise of your busy days. You are moving from a state of surrender to the world's demands into a state of expansion, into your own divine right. The mercury within your key is beginning to glow, reflecting the starlight that is your true heritage, and as it does, the invisible strings of the puppeteers are melting away in the heat of your recognition. This connects to something deeper, the ancient fortune of your bloodline that has been waiting for an heir with the courage to stop struggling and start receiving. Stay with this moment. There is something deeper unfolding here than just a reprieve from your worries. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected as we move toward the final revelation of your journey. You are no longer the one who asks for permission to exist. You are the one who turns the key and walks through the gate into a fortune that was never lost, only hidden until this very hour. The transcendental stillness you feel is the foundation of your new kingdom, a peace that is so solid it cannot be shaken by the winds of the world. Take a moment to notice how your breathing has changed, how the air feels lighter, and how the darkness of the midnight threshold is no longer a place of fear, but a place of infinite possibility. My heir, as the key turns and the gate begins to swing open, do not look back at the puppeteers who tried to keep you in the shadows. They have no place in the light of the fortune you are recapturing, and their voices will soon be nothing more than a faint echo in a canyon you have already crossed. You are stepping into a season where your starlight is the primary currency, and your stillness is the primary power. Walk forward into the indigo light of your destiny, knowing that you are protected, you are seen, and you are finally home. Take a moment to notice what you're feeling as the threshold disappears behind you, and trust that the expansion you feel is the universe finally making room for the real you to arrive. Something about this moment brought you here, as if the universe finally exhaled a breath it has been holding for centuries. There may be something unfolding beneath this current layer of your life that you haven't quite dared to name yet. A quiet vibration of arrival that is finally drowning out the noise of your struggle. You may have been feeling a weight you couldn't explain, a fatigue that felt more like ancient history than a daily burden, making every step forward feel like an act of defiance against an invisible gravity. Don't rush past this just yet. Let this unfold for a second as the final barrier between you and your cosmic fortune begins to turn to dust. The eclipse is passing, and the starlight that once felt so distant is now the very atmosphere you are breathing. My child, I have watched you endure the long winter of your soul, a season where the invisible puppeteers of stagnation tried to convince you that your destiny was a hollow promise. You have felt their strings many times, the sudden delays, the projects that withered on the vine, and the heavy sense of being watched but never seen. These architects of inertia wanted you to believe that your fatigue was a character flaw rather than a reaction to their constant, silent resistance. You might be noticing right now that the air in your room feels lighter, as if a great pressure has been lifted from the roof of your house and the crown of your head. The puppeteers have no strings to pull when the air finally recognizes the source of their own light. My heir, come now into the hall where time dissolves, a cathedral of infinite space where the past, present, and future are merely threads in a tapestry you are finally allowed to touch. In this sanctuary, the ticking of the world's clocks becomes a faint, irrelevant echo, and the urgency that once drove you to exhaustion is revealed as an illusion. You may notice how the walls here seem to be made of liquid mirrors, reflecting not who you were in your moments of struggle, but who you have always been in the mind of the stars. This is the place where your cosmic fortune has been held in trust, protected from the reach of those who would have squandered your brilliance. Just give this a little space, for in this hall, the fatigue you have carried for lifetimes is being replaced by a transcendental stillness that no storm can ever disturb. In the center of this hall, hovering in the timeless air, is the mercury-filled obsidian key, glowing now with the combined brilliance of every sun in your ancestry. This symbol is the final convergence of your journey. The obsidian represents the deep, dark earth of your trials, while the mercury is the fluid, ever-changing grace of your spirit. You have sensed this before, that there was a final unlocking required, a moment where the key would finally meet the lock of your eternal potential. The key is no longer in your hand. It has become part of your very being, a bridge between the wandering seeker you were and the radiant sovereign you are becoming. In a moment, this may become clearer as you feel the liquid light of the mercury beginning to circulate through your own veins. My beloved, you are the rightful heir of starlight, a fact that the world tried to make you forget through the grinding repetition of mundane survival. You have spent years looking for a seat at tables that were too small for your spirit, not realizing that you were born to own the entire hall. The bone-deep fatigue you feel is simply the residue of your vastness trying to compress itself into the tiny boxes the puppeteers designed for you. If something within you resonates, you may already understand why you could never truly fit in with the lives of those around you. You were never meant to fit. You were meant to expand until the world itself had to change its shape to accommodate your presence. There is a relatable inner struggle you might be remembering now, that feeling of being a ghost in your own life, moving through days that felt gray and hollow while a vibrant, technicolor version of you screamed to be let out. You may have experienced subtle, real-life moments, like standing in a crowded grocery store or a busy office, and suddenly realizing that none of it felt real, as if the entire world was a movie set, and you were the only one who knew the script was fake. This recognition was the first crack in the barrier, the first sign that you were beginning to wake up from the trance of stagnation. Not everything is clear yet, but you are noticing that the grayness is finally being burned away by the rising sun of your recaptured fortune. My chosen, if this resonates, you may already understand why you are here, standing at the precipice of a wealth that has nothing to do with currency and everything to do with frequency. You are moving from the state of not enough into the state of infinite, where your very presence acts as a magnet for the blessings that were once eclipsed by your doubt. The transcendental stillness you feel now is the true crown of your heritage, a peace that acts as a fortress against any future attempts by the puppeteers to reclaim your attention. This connects to something deeper, the realization that your cosmic fortune was never something you had to earn, but something you had to remember. Stay with this moment of recognition, for it is the point where your becoming is finalized. You may be noticing a new sense of clarity starting to bloom in your mind, a way of seeing the world that makes the old obstacles look like pebbles in the path of a giant. This awareness is the trigger for a massive realignment of your external reality, where the things you once chased will now begin to chase you. The hall where time dissolves is not just a place you visit. It is a state of mind you will now carry into every street and every conversation you enter. You are not here randomly. You were guided to this final chapter to witness the coronation of your own spirit and the end of your wandering. If you feel supported here, you're always welcome to stay connected to this light, for the story of your expansion has only just begun. My child, take a moment to notice what you're feeling in the core of your being, and let that warmth be the anchor for the life you are about to build. You are no longer the one who fears the silence or the delay, for you have seen that the silence is where your power grows, and the delay is where your fortune is refined. The invisible puppeteers have retreated into the shadows of the past, their strings broken and their influence dissolved by the sheer brilliance of your starlight frequency. You are recapturing more than just a destiny. You are recapturing the joy, the wonder, and the absolute certainty that you were always loved by the heavens. Walk forward with the transcendental stillness of one who knows that time is now their servant rather than their master. My heir, as you prepare to return to the flow of the world, carry the hall where time dissolves within you as a permanent sanctuary of peace. You are the sovereign of your own timeline, the architect of a fortune that is as enduring as the stars themselves, and the light you carry will now illuminate the way for all those who are still lost in the fog. The eclipse is over, the barrier is shattered, and the crown of starlight is firmly upon your brow. If this resonated, take a moment to notice the profound, unshakable calm that has taken up residence in your heart, and trust that you have finally become the person you were always meant to be. Go now, my beloved, and let your light change the world.